Peace, everyone. It's Black High Priestess. So, today I'm gonna talk about tearing down false altars and rebuking unclean spirits. So, basically, in the Bible, it talks about the specific ways that in the Old Testament that humans were to make offerings, the ways that the Most High approved of, and the things that the Most High didn't want, and then it talks about, some of the mysteries of the Levites who, were the priests of the Ark of the Covenant, and the mysteries of building the Ark of the Covenant and, holding the power within that. So, I have here, I'm gonna go grab this. So here I have La Serene, and this is a candle that I've had. I feel like it's been 7 years, for you all who do voodoo and, understand how the Congo spirit La Serene works. I feel like I've had her for 7 years, but I believe it's maybe been closer to like 4 or 5 since I actually purchased this candle at a festival. And the guy who makes these candles, he sells them for $5. He's been doing it for years. And he's usually at the Rib Fest, Chicago Rib Fest. That's where I usually see him, because I would go to the Rib Fest every year, not to eat ribs, but to get these candles, because I knew he would be there, and to just see the vending and everything, especially since I used to live in that area. So that's the story with this. This is very dear to me. She's been at my siren altar since, I had my siren altar when I got initiated into Vodun. Papa Legba came and Yemaya came. And being under the House of Oshun, I had initiations in more Haitian voodoo with La Serene. And while I connect to, the Iami, and was under the House of Oshun, although Yansan also chose me, Oshun is my mother. However, that's in Vodun, but I had La Serene and Ejuli Bridget. So, strong goddess energy, strong Isis, Isis being the daughter, so to speak, or the reflection of Ishtar, which is even still the reflection of Inanna, so, relating it to the Kemetic or Babylonian, Astarte being Ishtar as well, dealing with the star, dealing with the Isis energy, triple goddess energy, essentially, and the mysteries of La Serene, going from mermaid to princess, human, through her love, and then becoming Loa as well, after being a revolutionary, so to speak, and just the path of the La Société des Julies. So anyway, this is very, very, very dear to me. Very near and dear to me. And so understanding in the Bible that any carven image is an entry point for a corrupt, unclean spirit to enter. My journey with Vodun really is a lot of it, and the purity of it is kind of held into this, and understanding that there is still an uncleanness to trying to put a face to the divinity of the Most High, which is where all source of spirit comes from, and spiritual energy that comes over us comes from. I want to lead people in the right direction. So I have torn down, most of my false altars. I've reconstructed an altar of earth, which is what it says in the Bible for the Most High, not to have any carven images of wood or of anything in the heavens, on earth, or in the sea. You cannot put a face to the Most High. And that's why our altars are just to be elevated on earth, preferably upon a mountaintop. And just elevated earth, not edification, so to speak, not carven stones, not chiseled stones, but natural stones that you balance yourself and then place upon that burnt offerings. You're also not to go upon your altar, meaning so your privates are not exposed. In some spiritual baths, you can do a smoke bath, and you may stand over your incense or your cauldron and let the smoke be a bath to you and clean you. That would be an example of what not to do when offering to the Most High, because you don't want your privates exposed. And you shouldn't have your private exposed to an altar anyway. A tool like a cauldron where you're doing a smoke bath is one thing, but an altar specifically, it would be disrespectful in any type of way, unless you're dealing with unclean spirits, particularly ones that you would deal with in Satanism, where a lot of sexual rituals are done upon the altar. And so that's an example of the uncleanliness that the Most High does not approve of. So, I'm gonna go check on the water I got boiling so we can melt this down, and then I'll be right back. I'm gonna tear it down. All right, so good so far. So I just wanted to, just kind of let you all know and let you see, again, La Seren. This is, something very near and dear to me. There's a lot of energy in it, a lot of powerful energy. And I want to show you all that you have to have faith in the Most High. You have to understand that there's rules and guidelines that the Most High wants us to abide by, and that the Most High wants us to be of service. So, I don't have a cutting board, but this is a cutting tool. Looks kind of ugly with that on. So, but, this is just a cheap tool that you can use for if you make soap. Those of you who do arts and crafts and stuff, you can carve out your soaps, or, things like that. So I'm just going to start, if I can, with the wax. The wax isn't heated. Actually, this I should probably heat. It would be smart to kind of just like heat up this part here just so it cuts through the wax better. Because again, this wax isn't really, usually I have it in the bathroom and everything, and it could get warm from the steam that occurs in the bathroom. But, and then it cuts a lot better this way. But what I want to do is I just want to cut around the wick and see if I can just keep the wick in the middle, just kind of cut around the wick if I can, and just leave the wick and use it as a pillar candle. But, whatever I might have to do, may have to even get my knife, which is somewhere. I have a knife that I use. I'll have to find what I did with my, but anyway, the point is that, you really want to make sacrifices as well, and the main sacrifices are smoke offerings, burnt offerings, and animal sacrifices. So again, you do burn the animal sacrifice as well, but there's been times where, I think there's an account in the Bible where Abraham was making an animal sacrifice, and he had to place each organ side by side, and then the Most High lit them on fire on its own, meaning it accepted the offering on its own. And a lot of you who do voodoo understand how that can work, but we're really just reestablishing a connection to the Most High and eliminating any unclean spirits and eliminating any point of entry for an unclean spirit. You know, again, still dealing with voodoo, meaning the art of performing ritual, the art of making offerings to the Most High. You know what I'm saying? And understanding that when your offering is accepted, you'll know and understand, and you'll have a dream, because the Most High communicates to you through dreams. So if you study the Bible, after each person made a burnt offering upon an altar, they would fall into a deep sleep. And that is how the Most High does communicate with you, through your dreams. So, you know, I'm just demonstrating a way that you can do a spiritual cleanse and get rid of any points of entry for unclean spirits, as well as ask the Most High to reveal any unclean spiritual energy in your home by having those items, you know, catch fire or fall over, or, you know, reveal those items to you. Again, in voodoo, you may have a Osun rooster upon a pole, and when that pole falls down, it lets you know that there's evil energy in the house, or there's something wrong in the house. Again, in the Bible, you want to ask the Most High directly to reveal those things, but also following the main guidelines by not having any carven images, you know, upon your altar. And, you know, it's very important to the Most High that you give him praise, because any false images is where the deceiver enters and deceives you into thinking that this is a spirit that wants to help you, or this is a dead relative or a bloodline ancestor. But it is really the deceiver posing as something that has power when it doesn't. And to understand that it is not an image that has power. It's not an item. It's the power comes from the Most High and from your faith in the Most High. Not objects. So, the Bible talks about not storing up riches on earth, but in heaven. You store up riches in heaven by through the works that you do. Excuse me. Through the way that you live and being of service to others and the works that you do. The Most High wants people to be of service. And that's something that you can understand if you really study and read the Bible from the beginning and look at the different decisions and things that the Most High made for its followers, and the different messages that angels had for the people that the angels appeared to. You'll see that the Most High wants us to be of service. The Most High wants us to be sheep, and to trust in it, like the sheep trust in the shepherd. And that's why the Most High appoints shepherds, like priests and prophets and leaders, warriors. You know what I'm saying? Those are shepherds that are still sheep, but are appointed to be guardians and to be a guide to the herd. The Most High made humanity in his image, but in also sheep-like image. That's why it says that Jesus had hair like wool. I like to say Emmanuel, because it says in the Bible that it said to call him Emmanuel. So in English, reading the English Bible, I like to go by that, and it says, call him Emmanuel. Jesus and Christ are Greek words with their own meaning toward his position as Son of God. But I like to say Emmanuel and the Messiah. Those are my personal preferences. It doesn't make any other accurate phrase wrong or accurate definition of the Son wrong. But it's Emmanuel, it says, had hair like wool. And if you understand the way the Hebrews, they dealt with sheep a lot, and I believe that they looked like sheep, and I believe that the phenotype that they typically display, a Jew person, or now in modern times a Jewish person, you know what I'm saying, what you would say, but that stereotypical phenotype, I believe it looks like a sheep. The thick curly hair, very close, kinky, and close to, you know, not limp hair, but very kinky, coarse spiral hair. It's, you know, that's how sheep look. We look like sheep. We're designed to be like sheep. That's the image of the Most High, how Most High wants his people. Most High favors sheep. That's why the Hebrews were shepherds. And, you know, wandered in the desert a lot too. That's another thing. The Most High, in a way, had its people go through the desert a lot, and were people of the desert and people who were shepherds. So kind of understand those things. And, you know, like I said, I just want to show people ways where they can not be deceived by spirits that are not really that don't really have your best interest. Being of service. What I was talking about being of service is the Most High does want us to be of service. An example is when the angel was sent to Hagar, who ran away because Sarah was dealing with her harshly. But the angel told her to go back because, in fact, you know, we don't know, we weren't there, but Hagar was taken in, you know, as a servant. And, you know, she was to be of service. And Sarai, before she was named Sarah, Sarai didn't deal with her harshly until, you know, Hagar changed. You know, it's natural for a young girl who's in that position to get pregnant and be a concubine, so to speak, to have certain feelings. And Sarai, being a mother figure, you know, but at the end of the day, the Most High favored Sarai and told Hagar to go back because Hagar was supposed to be of service. She was taken in, she was taken care of. You know, and nothing bad happened to her, whereas she could have died in the middle of the desert if she wasn't taken in. And she was supposed to be of service. Just as Abraham was of service to the Most High, just as all the men and women that we know about and read about were of service to the Most High, that's why they were gifted and blessed. And the angel said that you are carrying Abraham's baby. That was a service that she was appointed to do for Sarah and Abraham, and for the Most High, essentially. And while she was young and everything, a lesson that I learned is to humble yourself and not look at the Bible from a perspective of a black revolutionary or a feminist, or even not from the perspective of a witch, so to speak. But really look at it and see what the lessons are that you want to learn about how you live your life, regardless of who you are. The lessons that are taught, and not to be biased and to have certain biases, but learn and understand what is in the Bible is what we are supposed to know. It's what we're supposed to learn. It's what the lessons that were for us in this time now, which was foretold, just like the birth of the Messiah was foretold, and that was at that time. The signs now, just like the three wise men looked at the signs that were told in the text, not from astrologers, not from tarot divination, you know what I'm saying, and fortune telling, but the signs that were written that were to be paid attention to that happened, we're seeing the signs now that are written in the Bible. Not that people didn't foretell, not that people weren't blessed with that divination, but though what we're supposed to know will come from the Most High, not from deceptive spirits that will corrupt our life and our vision and our destiny. So, you know, to understand the times we're in now because of the signs of the times, you know, it's important to really look at the Bible and read it yourself and not let people deceive you about what it talks about. Not let pastors and other self-righteous people puffed up with pride deceive you about the actual lessons, the commandments, the laws that you should go by, in the main lesson taught by the Messiah, which was that your faith will save you. And fearing the Most High is not something to be ashamed of. If you read the Bible and you see some of the things that the Most High did to demonstrate its power and why you should fear it, then you would be afraid too. And you would have a healthy fear of the Most High, but also a love, more importantly, a love of the good things. If you know the Most High's mercy, you will come to love the Most High as well. You know, some things that the Most High really liked is the Most High loved David, said David was after his own heart, and David was a musician. David sang and played music to the Most High. That is something very favored by the Most High, because the Most High has choirs in heaven, and the angels are orders within those choirs. Meaning all the angels are musical, all the angels can sing, or, you know, and the Most High likes trumpets and blowing horns and trumpets. That's something else that the Most High really likes. Trumpets and, you know, stringed instruments, so to speak, flute, string, things, you know, so, and remember that the Most High had people blowing war horns, the akoban in voodoo, the akoban, the African horn, the war horn that is blown, that is in the Bible. All across, the Hebrews are blowing war horns and trumpets as the Most High helped them conquer. So remember how violent the Most High was in helping the Hebrews after they left Egypt. They were spent 40 years, but they also started to conquer as they got closer to their promised land. They were conquering all the other nations around that the Most High, that were not honoring the Most High. And the Most High struck fear in all these other nations by bringing the Hebrew Israelites, who were fighting with less advanced weapons, but they were being led by the Most High. That's what Gideon was about, and Deborah. Those stories were talking about the ways that having faith, even the walls of Jericho coming down, and Joshua's faith, you know, in the Most High, being led by that, and striking fear in other nations, because you have these Hebrews who have this God that's more powerful than these other gods, and are winning wars in these supernatural ways. So I just want to, best I can, let me see if I can. This kind of takes a little bit, but like I said, this is a big, but I'm just going to be working on doing this today. It may take a little while. But just trying to, it's slowly but surely, it does take some energy. But, you know, again, we are supposed to be of service. We should be obedient to the Most High and abide by the laws and regulations. So making smoke offerings, making burnt offerings. I would suggest if you are not in a position to do a blood sacrifice, you can make your own smoke offering, make your own potpourri, use items and things. You can, build an altar out of earth items that you have, tear down any false altars you have, even ones to your ancestral spirits. If it has any picture on it, it's one thing to have a picture of a loved one and, on a place, like a mantelpiece or something, but do not, I would say, don't make offerings to a shrine where you have a picture of anything on it. Don't make offerings to that. You can have a picture of your loved one, you know what I'm saying, and you keep that dear, but don't create an altar out of that. Tear down any other images. I would even tell people, maybe some teenagers or people who are really into media who may be listening, tear down all posters that you have of celebrities. All posters that you have of celebrities, take down, especially if that celebrity's image is on it. Again, I know some people may have a picture of a celebrity that they may fantasize about sexually, so to speak. I know you may have, you may be fantasizing about a celebrity and you may have his or her picture up there. That, like I said, that's a teen type of thing. It's something that we all kind of do. But I really would say take down all those images. Just take down everything that shows a celebrity, that is a carven image that you have up and that you're worshiping it in any type of way. And I would suggest to not, unless it is needed for your career, really think about not having a TV. And if you must have a TV, I would suggest getting an older one, not getting a new HD TV. There's too much technology in here that's monitoring you, and there's too many demons attached to the artificial intelligence that is embedded in every electronic device in this day and age. So if you must have a TV, I would go back to the 50s. Like, get as analog as you can and learn and understand that. Because when the system crashes, you're going to need to know how to do analog stuff anyway. You're going to need to know how to, use antennas again. So, be careful with the new technology and how you have it. Be careful of mounting a TV and having a TV be your centerpiece in your home or be your altar. Don't let your TV or your entertainment be any type of altar or centerpiece in your home. Make it small and make it just enough. The bigger, the worse. Again, if you have vision problems, you're older, and you need a big TV to see, that's one thing. If you just have a big TV and everyone's sitting around getting fat watching the TV and that's your altar and you're eating nasty food while you're watching nasty, unclean spirits and media, stop it. You need to really get healthy spiritually and eliminate the things in your home that are interfering with your connection to the Most High. And so I want to really be an example. This is what our role is. Again, if you know what I'm saying, it's our job, high priest and high priestesses, Levites, so to speak. We are supposed to be demonstrating the laws and showing people some of the mysteries of voodoo, so to speak, of a spiritual connection. Moses was the only one who was to go up on the mountain. Other people probably went on the mountain, but they died. That's why they thought Moses died on the mountain. But Moses said, no one else is to go upon this mountain, or they'll be struck down. So everyone isn't supposed to have a position, but when you are, you have a higher responsibility. Moses broke those tablets because Moses forgot that it wasn't your responsibility. God already told you that God was angry with them and you didn't believe it, and then you went down, but he broke those tablets. Moses also lost faith. Moses needed to have more faith than anyone because they were relying on Moses' faith. And when Moses struck the rock twice at where Mira maybe, or wherever where he struck the rock twice, because his faith wasn't strong enough to strike the rock the first time and know that the water was going to come out, that was a penalty as well, against his faith, and his character, that the Most High noted. So again, with great power comes great responsibility. And so I want to make sure that I'm reminding people that any divination I do does come from the Most High. I want it to come from the Most High. And if you're dealing with people who are doing tarot divination, if you've got bad cards coming out and that tarot diviner doesn't say, you know what, I don't like the way this reading's going, I'm going to take this and turn it around, they are working with the unclean spirit. Because as a tarot diviner, you essentially are a person is giving you the power to divine their future. And if you don't have the intention where you want every client to have the best outcome, and you don't want the people coming to you to be healed and to leave an experience or a divination with you in the best way, you're dealing with an unclean spirit. They're dealing with an unclean spirit. Tarot diviners should want the best outcome for every client, and should want to look for solutions. And if the tarot are showing you certain situations that need to be resolved, that person shouldn't be just saying, well, the card means this and this is going to happen. They should be saying, this is a solution to what I see the cards are trying to tell me that is important in your life that you need to pay attention to. But at this time, I have to encourage people to get away from that. There's too many corrupt spirits attached to it, and there's too many tarot diviners who are wicked spirits. They're divining, they're dealing with wicked spirits who want to corrupt the future of others. If you want to do divination, do divination. But at this time, don't use, I would say don't use any tools. That's why I'm doing bibliomancy now, because I was told to burn my tarot deck. My other tarot decks burned in a fire that I had with some other stuff. But I understand that at that time I was in a cleansing, and I was manifesting certain things that I realized the incident where, you know, even though it was an electrical fire, I understand why it happened. And why certain things, that's another thing. When you do deal with unclean spirits, and when you tear down altars, that's what the Hebrews had to do. When they conquered other places, they tore down the false altars. You had to burn them too. So remember that it's best to burn any items that you are shown that is holding a spiritual energy. Some things you can get rid of or break, whatever, you know, like with this, I'm going to turn into another, I'm going to use the wax and mix it into another candle. But, you know, tearing down all bebes and any other false entry points for false spirits that are not of the Most High. And at this time, I will say that at the 33 point, that Eshu Elegbara is an Elohim. That's why Eshu Elegbara has L-E-L in its name. The L's are the Elohim, the angels, different orders of angels, and Eshu is the punisher angel, meaning Eshu is a high order, the left hand of God, in fact. And that is what Eshu does. And that's why Eshu has the gates, opens or closes the gates to any form of spirituality, because it is through Eshu that you either enter the wickedness of false spiritism and unclean spiritism, or that you are guided back to the straight and narrow path. Not the right-hand path, which is wickedness and false religion. There's false religion, right-hand path, and false spiritism, left-hand path. But the straight and narrow is when you are having a divine connection with the Most High and walking in faith. And that's kind of where Eshu either is Eshu, you know what I'm saying, and guides you that, or is the Ajogun, that devil that kind of puts you through hell, or sentences you to hell, so to speak, that punisher. So Eshu can also serve as a guardian angel, and the angel Eshu can make itself known to you through pennies. that is a way that the angel issue can communicate, or that you know that your guardian angel is around you. Specifically, if you are of African descent, or if you are of African American descent. Again, another thing about the angels or the Elohim, they show up in different ways, different orders of angels, depending on what you know about them. Different orders of angels show up different ways. If a person shows up and they're kind of robed or they're kind of cloaked, they're a higher order of angel probably. They could be seraphim. Seraphim have to hide their wings and the eyes upon each feather, upon each wing, upon the 6 wings. They could be a high messenger. I've had someone come to my job in a poncho, and they kept coming to the bar, and he was drinking, and he was what you would consider a Caucasian man. But I knew that he was an angel, because every time he came to my bar, he kept telling me that I was a good person and that I should get ready for what was coming. And he kept saying, you know, just get right with God. And I know that and so I knew it was an angel. When I'm in other situations, people who may be a little older, but men who have canes, even women sometimes, who are walking with a cane, but like a wooden staff. And it's not uncommon in the hood to see older people or people who may be a little bit slightly obese to be walking with staffs. Wooden staffs, wooden canes, you know what I'm saying, so to speak, and bigger ones, not just like a regular cheap one, but like a certain one that would look more like a staff. That is another way that angels can show up in your life, particularly if you're of African descent. Angels are not based on a gender or a race or ethnicity. The cherubim can show up to you as children sometimes. Little small children. Those could be cherubim angels coming into your life. They could be white, they could be black, boy or girl. People understand a legwa to be like that. That can be that other angel of Eshu coming into your life, guiding you. So understand the difference, how angels will come into your life versus how unclean spirits will come into your life. Unclean spirits can come into your life. They can be people smiling at you. Watch out for women who are constantly kind of smiling a little too much and they're a little too nice. And you know that they really don't like you, but why are they smiling so hard? And why are they acting like they like you so much and everything like that? That's an unclean spirit trying to get you to think that it has good intentions, because if you let it into your life and you confide in it and trust in it as if this woman is nice to you, then she can start affecting you through witchcraft. So ladies, be careful of people who are smiling too much when you know that they don't like you. Be careful of women who you know upon first energy that they're jealous of you because of whatever reason, but they're smiling a lot. Be careful of that. That's an unclean spirit. It's better to deal with someone who will let you know that they're jealous of you in a certain way, but maybe they have to work with you, or maybe they have to live with you or something, and they're not trying to hide their feelings, but they can deal with it like an adult, as opposed to someone who's smiling and being fake when you know this person does not like you because they're jealous of you, because they're jealous that your hair is longer, or you are dating this, or, jealousy is never about one thing. Jealousy is a spirit that makes a person hate you and do anything to destroy you. It will never just be one aspect of you that they're jealous of. A person is jealous of your connection to the Most High because they are cursed. That's where jealousy comes from. Jealousy can come from a person who isn't cursed, and they can be jealous, but that spirit of jealousy can enter them if they have jealousy in their heart. And when the spirit of jealousy enters them, that person, then their jealousy becomes their curse to bear, because that spirit is bound to wickedness. And wickedness makes you ugly. At this time, I'm just going to, again, make sure I'm going to be working on this, but I just want to show you all that I'm just going to take some of this wax in here and just kind of demonstrate that I'm going to turn the light on even though it's daytime. I want you all to see. If you can, here, I have boiling. I got 2 candles here boiling. And so as they boil in the water on the pot, the wax melts. As they're boiling the water on the pot, the wax melts. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw this wax in here and melt it down. And I'm just going to melt this wax down. And that's what I'm just going to let that settle. And I'm going to pour some more water into the pot because the water will evaporate. So I'm just going to pour more water into the pot so it can keep boiling. So it can keep boiling. And I'm going to take, I don't know I'm going to pour a little bit of this wax in there. Just a little bit. Makes it dark. But I'm going to leave that in. And so I'm going to come back. And I just wanted to show you all. That's pretty much what I'm doing. I'm going to cut up this old Lacerin candle and boil it down with some other wax from other candle items that I had at my, at my goddess altars, my Ejuli altars, my Lacerin altar, my Mama Bridget altar, and just boil that wax down and just make a simple regular candle, and just use that candle just for lighting and for cleansing. I'm actually not going to write anything on the candle. I'm just going to pour it into another candle holder, and I have my wicks here. I just purchased some wicks. You can make your own wick by braiding thread and then dipping it in wax and letting it sit and harden. Or you can do it with wood as well. And then, you can do metal work. These things aren't hard to make, what I'm saying? You can even do it with foil, the wick holders. And then, you can use jars and everything, but I want to buy a specific one and make a candle with all this excess wax. I'm actually just getting rid of a lot of stuff again, so, I'm getting rid of a lot of my items, my Vodun items, my spiritual items, a lot of gemstones and some other things I'll be concocting. And I'll just be making soap, candles, and incense, and start to offer smoke offerings to the Most High by burning everything that had a false image on it, and, burning old hair and just burning other things that the Most High has told me to use for burnt offerings for whatever reason. So always listen and be obedient to the Spirit of the Most High when it's communicating with you and suggesting you to do certain things in your life to cleanse, to get rid of certain things when it's showing you that certain items are spiritually corrupt and need to be removed from the home or burnt. Some items may just need to be passed on to somebody else who could use them. It no longer serves you and your spiritual purpose, and some items just need to be passed on and given to someone else. Don't always think in terms of making a profit. Sacred economics is that sacred exchange of energy. So, think about, you can have a garage sale with your items, but really also remember that it does talk about the law of wealth, so to speak, the law of attraction in the Bible, where it refers to a person who is stingy will always be poor, whereas people who are always giving will always be receiving. It states that in the Bible. So if you have faith and you don't operate out of fear of not having, out of fear of lack, but you operate out of the love that the Most High designed for you to have in your heart for others and to care for one another, then you will always have what you need. And always remember that, the Lord is your shepherd. You shall not want. And that comes with the beauty of being able to follow the Most High and follow and be in, you know, not have a herd mentality, to use the brain that the Most High gave you, but also use your brain to understand that you having faith is what gets you through any situation, any circumstance. You know, so just be moved to remove any, this is how you really would do a spiritual cleanse. And then once you remove all points of unclean spiritual entry, you then want to start cleaning yourself, bathing regularly, cleaning the home and everything, and start to rebuke any spirits of depression, delay, deception, any spirits of loss and mischief, any spirits of chaos, any spirits of sadness, loneliness. Rebuke spirits of addiction. Rebuke all of those spirits that have been operating in your life, causing you to do things or make decisions that are corrupting your destiny. And, you know, start to rebuke them in the name of the Most High, in the name of the blood of Christ. Because remember, it was the sacrifice of God's Son that God gave to the world for our sins. You can make sacrifice to the Most High, but you also have to make sacrifice after you've committed a sin. That's why the woman who summoned the spirit of Saul, she knew it was against divine law, so she had to sacrifice immediately after she did that. Because she had to make a sacrifice as repentance. So there's a difference between an offering and a sacrifice. Remember, burnt offerings is one thing, but an animal sacrifice can be an offering. But making a sacrifice, God, several times, God took people's firstborn son. God made Abraham, tested Abraham by seeing would he offer his first son. And Abraham would, because God would. That's why Abraham was so blessed, and we're all Abraham's descendants. You know, in theory, those of us who the Most High is our God. Whether you're Gentile or not, if you have faith in the Most High too, then, and you're not a descendant of Abraham, but you have faith, then that will get you through. But in the Israelites, when Pharaoh killed the firstborn of every Hebrew, trying to get to Moses, trying to get to the omen of Moses, that was a sacrifice that all the Hebrews made for Moses being the savior. God caused the Pharaoh to do that. God allowed the Pharaoh to take the firstborn too, remember, because that's the way God works. If you understand how God works, God allowed the Pharaoh to take the firstborn of all the Hebrew Israelites, but through that they made the Exodus. Okay, and we're given Moses. Just like when Christ was born, again, God allowed, I forgot Herod to kill the firstborn of all the Hebrews that were around, trying to get to the prophecy of the Christ being born. Another sacrifice that was made of the firstborn. So the firstborn son is a form of a sacrifice that the Most High accepts. That's a way that the Most High operates. If you read the Bible and you understand the Most High through what the Bible says, you will understand that that's something important to the Most High. Your firstborn son. Okay, that's a thing. So what I'm saying is God offered Christ's blood because that was essentially, I don't want to speak for the Most High, but what I'm saying is that was God's offering to us and God's sacrifice for all of our sins. Meaning, you know, for essentially everything that we have to go through, being imperfect and all of the sins we commit, because we have to deal with the wickedness of the devil. But God gave his firstborn son, and if we believe and have faith in that, then we can be freed from it. But God made that sacrifice because God allowed sin. If you really understand and think about it, God made a sacrifice, and it was almost as, that's God's way of saying, I feel your pain. because I am sacrificing to you the same way I require you to sacrifice to me. But this is why I require you to believe in me and not gods of stone and carven images that are false. So I hope you all understand the lesson behind this. And you know, you know, in the thumbnail of this picture, I'll have the siren candle, and you know, because that'll be the last of it, you know. But I'll show you all the final product as well eventually in another upload. But it was really important for me to do my job and to explain to you all the importance of spiritual cleanliness, and that starts with understanding what the Bible says in whatever language you speak, but understanding the guidelines of the Most High and what the Most High sees as being spiritually clean. It's not about wearing white. It says nothing in the Bible. There's nowhere in the Bible where it says a person was required to wear white. It says that a person may have turned white, may have gotten struck with leprosy. A person's robes may have came white. The Christ robes may have glowed white. But there's nowhere in the Bible that it says a person is required to wear white for any amount of time at that to achieve cleanliness. Even Christ says that it is not required to even wash your hands before you eat. That's not the representation of being clean, spiritual cleanliness. So understand that spiritual cleanliness starts with looking in your heart and seeing whether or not you are dealing with corrupt spirits and whether or not you have faith in them, in the Most High, and you understand that the Most High is a jealous God and has done too much for us to give praise to a deceptive spirit, which is Satan. It is that deceptive spirit that enters through and lets his legions of these unclean spirits, which also have orders too. There's orders of those unclean spirits as well, that enter in, but they're all answering to the deceiver. So don't be deceived. You know, and this is the way. This is the main way to do that. So, but you know, again, tearing down my lacerin candle. Last thing with siren possession, you know, sometimes like I've done you know, trances and things where I sing, and as I was doing this before I did this upload, I did a YouTube upload talking about this, but as I was getting ready and making my tea, I bursted into song, and I was the same way it happens in voodoo, you know what I'm saying? It's still a spiritual thing, but I understood that it was not to a lesser spirit. It was to the Most High. And I don't know but let me see, what would I say? Jehovah is my God. He will have saved me. He is the Most High, the Father of the sky. Jehovah is my God. He is true, he is love, salvation. Jehovah is no lie. He is Father of the high. Jehovah is our God. He can, he will save me. Jehovah is most high. He is Father of the sky. Jehovah is our God. He is love, he is true salvation. He is no lie. He is Father of the high. So that was just something that came to me, that, you know, in the same way when you're doing your African spirituality, the spirit comes over you. But I wanted to show you that it's not to forsake voodoo. It's not to forsake your spiritual practices, not to forsake the spirits that come over you, but understand, whether it be the spirit of song, the spirit of praise, you know, the spirit of sensuality, the spirit of art. Those things could come over you that come from the Most High, that you can use to praise the Most High. just like a spirit of depression or a spirit of jealousy or a spirit of wrath could enter you, and those things could be used to serve the deceptor, to serve the deceiver who wants your life, who wants to take your soul. And those spirits can cause you to want to commit suicide, to want to kill someone else, to want to destroy someone else's life. And those behaviors will lead you into a path that will make you lose your soul, whether wanting to sell your soul to the deceiver for worldly things, or because you will lose your soul by not abiding by what the Most High requires for us. So spirit, you want the clean spirits to come over you. And read the Bible yourself is the best way to understand what the Most High wants. Because religion is right-hand wickedness, right-hand path wickedness. It is not the straight and narrow, nor is spiritism the left-hand path, which is individual wickedness. You want the straight and narrow. All right, all praises to the Most High. Ashe. Peace and blessings.